rumors of strange events and ghostly sightings were a tale that were very common and are still there today. You can go and visit the ghosts yourself. A paranormal expert once claimed that the place is a breeding ground of haunted Florida souls and paranormal movement. And apparently, according to this paranormal expert, these sorts of haunting inclines to be present in these zones where human feelings and emotion were or was focused at the time, or even is if you are there and you are not of truly capable mind and body. Do not go. Well, number 2 on our list, Tranquil Sanatorium in Canada. Now I'm assuming that that would change over to tranquil. It's supposed to be very tranquil. It was built in 1907 as a ranch before the owners began caring for tuberculosis patients. Now, I do want to say that a lot of these hospitals did care for the tuberculosis epidemic, all the patients that came in, and unfortunately, these people had been treated terribly. Not really on purpose, but they were just trying to keep the disease from spreading to the rest. A small community known as Tranquil was built around it. The community has its beautiful gardens, houses, a farm, a fire department, and more facilities. In 1958, guess what? The hospital closed, and yet was reopened in 59 for some reason. I guess to clean the tuberculosis patient rooms up, since they did not treat them anymore. And now, in 1959, they started to treat the mentally ill. Now, in 1983, it closed permanently. But that doesn't mean the ghosts do not still haunt this hospital's halls today. It is said that spirits constantly, persistently knock about the place. Years of isolation and sadness seep into the surroundings, into the walls and the land that it sits on. Emotions can be felt by the living, and haunted encounters have occurred many, many times. It would seem that Tranquil Sanatorium just might be incredibly, incredibly haunted. Strange floating orbs throughout reputation for being extremely haunted in this context should be of no surprise to anybody. The hospital closed as a psychiatric hospital in the early 90s following the closure of other mental institutions in England. However, a small section remained open until the 20th of March 1997 for the treatment of elderly patients suffering from the effects of having a severe stroke. I've never heard of that. A specific hospital only for patients suffering severe strokes. However, paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, are very interested in the place in search of encounters of the critical kind. Critical kind. Number 4 on our list. And that just looks scary. The Whittingham Hospital in England. This was a psychiatric hospital in the parish of Whittingham, near Preston, Lancashire, England. It opened in 1873 as the 4th Lancashire County Asylum and grew to be the largest mental hospital in Britain. Now this is the 4th one in this county. I wonder why they put patients, so many patients are needed, so many places for the insane. In 1967, the hospital faced a controversy involving complaints of maltreatment, abuse in 2 male and 2 female wards in St. Luke's Division, with the worst being in Ward 16. The worst being in Ward 16 for women. So what happened in Ward 16? Complaints were reported. Patients being locked in small rooms under staircases, in bathrooms, outside in the airing courts, regardless of the weather. So pretty intense. Others include patients being dragged by their hair, a wet towel treatment. Oh, that's terrible. Where a damp towel would be wrapped around the patient's neck to induce unconsciousness. Nurses setting fire to a patient's clothing while worn, beatings, and mice, rats, and other vermin infestations. Can you believe it? So an investigation took place, and the results, both the head male nurse and the head female nurse took, let's say, quote unquote, early retirement. 2 male nurses were convicted of theft, and in a separate incident, another nurse was jailed for manslaughter after an elderly patient had been assaulted by her that later passed away. The negative imagery of this hospital exists for a solid reason, believe me. It offers the kind of true hauntings you most likely would never want hurt themselves. Number 5, we're going to move on to Old Shanghai Hospital in Singapore. Well, you know, if you've listened to my channel before, that Japanese or any kind of Asian culture scares me to death as far as their just how wild just their movies are. I mean, truth comes from test, or just there's truth in jest, is what I mean. So located in Shanghai, Singapore, Shanghai Hospital was originally known as Royal Air Force Hospital. Now this merged with Bao Hospital and renamed as the Shanghai General Hospital after it was closed in 1997. It sat abandoned for over a decade, for good reason too, because it is regarded one of the most haunted places in Singapore. Old Shanghai Hospital was captured by the Japanese forces during World War II and used as a healthcare facility for the prisoners of war detained at the Shanghai military base nearby. So, POWs suffered there very, very much. As you walk through these dilapidated, falling down, eerie walls, you will feel the uneasiness of the entire life that is within the very concrete itself. was cited by the Ghost Hunters International as one of the most haunted places in this world. Clark Air Base has a long, violent, and often bloody history in the Philippines, and is considered one of the most haunted places of all time. The base also was the dwelling place in which many wounded American soldiers evacuated during the Vietnam War, and the traumas, deaths, and other horrific going-ons from the conflict have also left their mark on the spirit presence in the hospital. So ghostly sightings, movement, activities are reported in the abandoned Clark Air Base Hospital, where headless apparitions and mysterious voices are simply common occurrences for the Filipinos nearby. Can you imagine what they had to have done to these people to have headless spirits running around? Violent, desperate, angry spirits observed, attested by the residents who live right next to this place, have rendered the area off limits to everybody. That so many people have come forward to say, do not get near this place. In the Clark Museum nearby, the ghosts of a serviceman who was found to have committed suicide still will haunt the area and the place where he hanged himself. It is remarkable that the hospital is one of the few areas that ghost hunters ever examined that was deemed disturbed. They're probably so afraid of going to this place. I know I would be terrified. Now this is probably the scariest one I have seen yet. Next on our list is Knockton Hall Hospital in England. Built in 1530. I'm going to repeat that because can you imagine what it's seen? Knockton Hall's background has much to tell. I mean, yeah. If you want to know history, that's for sure. It is a Grade 2 listed building in the village of Knockton in Lincolnshire, England, from a manor house. The building was later used as a convalescence home for wounded American officers during the First World War. It was used again during the Second World War as a military hospital, so as we can see, it has really been through current horrific events, but even before that, can you imagine? Everybody has their secrets. It was used as a military hospital and has been used similarly ever since. It reverted to a private use in the 80s with a major fire struck the building and left it in a derelict state. In another haunted tale, there is a young girl which was raped and murdered by the son of the owner of the place. Back when it was a manor house, remember I said before all of the hospitals began to open there for World War I and II, I knew instinctively it had to have a past. This young girl that was murdered and raped, their presence has been reported by various people who have stayed at the building, haunting one particular room with dysfunctional existence. The hospital care facility held tens of thousands of patients, including the most dangerous, hysterical, and violent psychotics in the world. Can you imagine working there? You can feel the intense chills and anger about the place. An astounding 13,000 patients died in the facility within 130 years of service. This is enough reason for it to be named one of the most haunted places in the country. Yeah, I would say so. That's a lot of people that died there. Moreover, the facility reopened in 2001 as a campus after concluding its healthcare services in 1998. Would you mind taking higher education in the said institute? Hell no. Oh, come on. I bet it would be fun. So now our next one takes us to my home in Ohio, and we definitely have one of the most, or a couple of the most haunted places, I believe, in the world. lone mental institution suffered, became overcrowded. The facility lasted for 128 years and closed its doors in 1995. Holy crap. Ghost tours and the display of the haunted buildings are run as visitors regaled with terrified tales, horrific thoughts, paralyzing dreams, including the story of James Kelly. He was initially sentenced to death in June of 1868, but was downgraded to 10 years hard labor. So how does that happen? How does somebody get sentenced to death and then they decide that, well, what he did was originally worth killing him over, but now he only gets 10 years death, or 10 years death, 10 years hard labor? To me, that is absolutely asinine. But so, uncle of the notorious bush ranger Ned Kelly, James Kelly, charged with, attempted murder. He was initially sentenced to death in 1868, and as I said, downgraded to 10 years hard labor. Released from jail, is sent to the Arats Lunatic Asylum and later transferred to the Beechworth Lunatic Asylum, where he died on August 26, 1903. More than 9,000 inmates died there within the walls of this asylum, including a young girl who was mysteriously thrown from a high-story window. But get this, the reason for her demise, never explained. But nobody has to worry because she doesn't bother you, but you can see her, you can feel her, you can watch her, you can listen to the sounds she makes. She is quite friendly or oblivious towards the mortal souls that walk around her. Back to the United States. Taunton State Hospital in Massachusetts. Built in 1854, Taunton State Hospital was a psychiatric hospital located in Taunton, Massachusetts. Oh, it is cloaked in horror and horrific history, alarming to most. You would understand the entire story if you are aware of the hospital's most famous patient, Jane Dupan, a serial killer who confessed to having murdered at least 31 people while working as a nurse. Sounds like Munchausen syndrome to me. However, the story involving the people who ran the hospital is even more terrifying than many of the criminally insane patients it houses. Tales that are beyond our imagination have been the subject of talking whispers, satanic rituals carried out in the basement by doctors and nurses using the unwilling patients for their proceedings or sacrifices. Can you believe this? Now let's go back to that thought. Satanic rituals individuals by the nurses and doctors. Don't you think that's a little bit strange? Out of all the people in the world, I don't really see doctors and nurses being of a satanic culture. Now, having said that, if they were possessed by something or someone, that might give us a clear explanation. But since the sacrifices of these unwilling patients that these doctors and nurses used to feed the Dark Lord, it is believed that the basement area has been long consumed by a dark, evil, shadowy figure. It comes out of the walls, crawling onto the floor, around to watch the patients in the hospital. Can you imagine staying there? Oh my gosh. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Still in the United States, Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. I may have mentioned Waverly Hills before or not, but it is a huge facility and by far the creepiest, or one of the creepiest I've ever seen. The aura is black and dark. Located in southwestern Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium is currently closed. It was opened in 1910 as a two-story hospital to accommodate 40 to 50 tuberculosis patients. However, as most of these sanatoriums or insane asylums or hospitals, it had become overcrowded with patients. And with donations of money and land, a new hospital started in 1924, though the death toll or estimates vary widely. So we know that 6,000 people at least died at Waverly during the 50 plus years. 6,000 people in 50 years while it was in operation. After all of the death, the pain and agony within these walls in Kentucky, Waverly Hills is considered to be one of the absolutely most haunted places in the country. Today the hospital is briefly known for its primary purpose in the past, but made a great name for being haunted, and many famous ghost hunters go there. Ghost stories began to circulate, like the little girl who has been seen running up and down the third floor solarium, and the little boy, Timmy, who was spotted with a leather ball, the hearse that appeared in the back of the building dropping off coffins, the woman with the bleeding wrists who cried for help, and a man in a white coat who has been seen walking towards the kitchen, and the smell of cooking food that sometimes waves through the room. Oh, creepy, creepy, creepy. So people that visit the sanatorium are told they hear banging doors, lights in the windows, where there should have been none. When there should have been none. Mysterious sounds and eerie footsteps in the hallways and empty rooms. Apart from these unnamed apparitions, the tales involving the fifth suicide by hanging herself from an exposed pipe or light fixture. This nurse was only 29 years old at the time of her death, and supposedly she was devastated, pregnant but unmarried. Her depression over the situation led her to take her own life. It's unknown how long she may have been hanging in this room until somebody found her, because when she was discovered, her body was almost falling apart. But hold on, everybody, this is not the only horrific event to have taken place in this room 502. Another freaking scary legend involves another nurse who worked in room 502 again and was said to have jumped over the window 4 years later. Do you think this is a coincidence? I don't think so. And nobody has any explanation as to why she would do this. Her family, her friends, they said she was of sound mind and body. But many speculate that she might have been pushed over the edge. There are no records to indicate this, but rumors continue to persist. Regardless of the tale, many Waverly visitors are convinced that an anguished entity lurks in room 502. Well, everybody who's dying to go there. New plans have been developed to convert the paranormal hotspot into a 4-star hotel, so you know damn well that hotel is going to be on it. You should be making hotel reservations as early as today, because it is filling up quickly. So, I definitely would not suggest staying on the 5th room in 502, would you? I don't know. So some of the more special hospitals across the world would be Ibaraki Hospital in Japan. It is one of the rare modern but wooden hospitals that are not yet demolished. Located in the middle of a large urban area, the entrance to the hospital is guarded by a beautiful Japanese lady in blue and green. The hospital equipment, machines, beds, and wheelchairs are still recognizable, but they are scattered all over the place. Why? I don't know. The operating room, quote unquote, is very active because of the reports of its, being arranged from time to time, the beds moving. Shadows and full apparitions are often seen along the corridors, including the sound of a little voice sobbing in a particular area is heard as well. Like I said, in Japan, it is crazy. Stories of hauntings and like The Ring and The Grudge, those movies did not come out of nothing. I believe that those are the apparitions that people see, that they run from, that they are scared of. The Nijitsu town some 3 decades ago, or 30 years. Same was the village. It left the same time. Now why would a whole village of people leave their homes the same time that the hospital had to be shut down? The tiny infirmary is at a corner of the Nijitsu village, hidden behind the trees, completely deserted and almost impossible to find, tucked away in a valley that is often shrouded in fog, making its yawning, deteriorating architecture even more horrifying. Although the, unified town is worth a look. It's within the wooden walls of somewhat unassuring looking clinic that really horrific things can be found. Inside it lies strewn interior, covered with dust and debris all over the place. Medical records thrown haphazardly here and there. A collection of medical portions, size human organs, potions, which are more or less recognizable in jars, still there. There is even a human brain sitting on one of the shelves. A strange and eerie sight are two little girls that are the most widely and frequently reported with personal accounts indicating laughing and then crying, as well as some children telling others to hide quickly. These tales are often discussed on Japanese forums, especially about the mysterious disappearance of Nijitsu's brain, which could be the brain found in the jar. Nobody really knows. So even looks like a pigment of Stephen King's imagination comes to life, which is crazy beyond belief to me anyway. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, now widely considered one of the most haunted destinations in America, operated from 1864 to 1994, but why so haunted within such a short time? Although it was designed for 250 patients, guess what? 2,400 were crammed in, which gave pause when I arrived for my overnight ghost hunt. Was I exploiting their suffering? Was I going to regret this later? Would one of them attach to me? Was I doing the right thing? I arrived for my overnight, and I guess validated all of the things I was thinking. I mean, come on, man. After all, it seemed few care about their pain while they're alive, right? But just in case, I said a silent "I'm sorry" to any ghosts offended by my presence. So the current owner launched the ghost tour to raise money for ongoing restoration of this asylum. So let me tell you a little bit about it. There's a 90-minute presentation, and then it goes on for 90 minutes. It's a daytime tour for $35, a 2-hour nighttime tour for $40, and the most intense option, which is of course the one that I chose. Yes, I chose. Well, might not have been the best choice for me. From 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. for $100. I expected this to be hardcore. Let's just say I expected to see some hardcore paranormal investigators weighing down the place with camera gear and digital recorders, and yeah, there was some, but there was also a preppy older couple, a mom chaperoning tween girls, and a grandma from Indiana named Julia and her skeptical son-in-law, who kept annoying us all. The two became my friends for the night. Not the skeptical one, but the other one. So we broke into smaller groups at night, spending 2 hours on each of the asylum's four floors. Yes, the asylum had 4 floors before rotating, and we got to rotate. Our guide, told us about some of the hospital's better known spirits, but that's not the ones I really wanted to talk to. I wanted to know the deep down dirt, if you know what I mean. The spirits that lay dormant, that don't say much to the passerbyers, the ones that do jump in the night. Well, the better known spirits, I might as well just tell you who they are. A little girl named Lily who was born in the asylum. Kind of made me feel a little bit weird about that, but like how did that happen? I guess somebody was pregnant when they came in. And a man named Jesse who died of a heart attack in a bathtub. Civil War soldiers, and a patient who was brutally murdered by none other than his roommates. None other than his roommates. On each floor she gave us the lay of the land before turning us loose to explore. The hospital is enormous. It is very easy to end up alone despite the dozens of other people wandering around the place. Scared the shit out of me. It was also to feel lost amid the maze of hallways and patient rooms covered none of the bullshit, none of this pussyfooting around, I'll tell you that much right now. I wanted to know what the hell went on here. So what we did, we placed a mag light on the floor and asked Jim to turn it on. The light was Julia's, but I inspected it and it seemed totally ordinary, A few beats passed, then it came on by itself. We were nowhere near it. Nowhere near this light. I offered Jim a cigarette to turn it back off. It went black. I don't smoke, but our guide gave me a couple of cigarettes because she said some of the spirits really liked them and missed smoking. We tried the flashlight trick again and again in a room where Lily supposedly plays, in a pitch black corridor once reserved for violent women, in a lobotomy recovery area without luck. My God, what would a little girl be doing in a lobotomy recovery area? For God's sake, I hope she wasn't one of the people who got lobotomy. So we're exploring this crumbling, decaying building and listening, hearing, learning of its history. Oh yes, plenty of thrills. Ghosts or no ghosts, it was no joke. By 4:30 a.m., my hardcore self was ready to go. As I drove away, I thought about whether I actually believe. I've always been fascinated by ghosts. I've always believed in them. I don't know, but am I really convinced that they actually truly exist? Honestly, I don't know. I can't be 100% honest with you in saying yes. So I'm gonna say probably I'm on the 50-50 mark. Maybe James did turn on that flashlight, or maybe there's some mechanical explanation. Well, what mechanical explanation could it be if it's just a regular old mag light and it doesn't have a remote? Then guess what? That shit's going on and off by itself. Or from a ghost. I don't know. I just don't know, and what's more exciting than the unknown, and maybe that's where my skepticism comes in, because I want it to be exciting. So if you want to go there, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is 71 Asylum Drive, West Virginia. One hour away is Dr. Mudd's house. The house turned museum was one of the places John Wilkes Booth stopped after he shot President Lincoln and fled Washington in 1865. It was the residence of Samuel Mudd, who treated Booth's broken leg and wound up jailed for it. Today, visitors claim to see Mudd's ghost. The house is open for tours. $7 for adults, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Now, Colonial Williamsburg. Ah, yes. Let's talk about this. You will hear spooky tales on the ghost tour in the historic district, or you can stay the night in a potentially haunted 18th century Visitors swear that there are disembodied voices and footsteps, so take a night tour. Only cost you $30. As we move on. Scary stuff. Those are just some ideas of where to go. You can go anywhere you like, but I'll tell you, the insane asylums are just pure creepy. Anyway. So what are some of the most creepiest, most terrifying asylum stories? Well, let's just say that I want to preface this by speaking that maybe it's sad that people get a little bit creeped out by just visiting a mental asylum, but let's face it, nothing good happened there, especially back in the day, or when they spot mentally challenged or differently abled beings. That is sad. But abandoned asylums don't need ghosts to make them creepy. Cages for humans, ruins of uncertain treatments, and ice pick lobotomies do the job. Man, if that doesn't freak you out, you're better than me. You're braver than me, because that scares the shit out of me. It's obvious that any mental institution is bound to be emitting horribly bad energy. But a haunted former asylum? Well, now that's something that you will not just feel chills run down your spine, but also make you have many sleepless nights. So the darkest histories of abandoned mental asylums. Yeah. Just remember these. Danvers Lunatic Asylum. Well, 78. Danvers Lunatic Asylum not only housed mentally challenged beings, but also was a prison for sinners who were mentally unstable. Imagine a house full of lunatics who have been accused of some gruesome crimes, and I mean gruesome crimes, who are also mad in head. The number of admissions in the asylum increased so drastically that the hospital became understaffed, and, well, that is never a good thing, because then there's too many of anything, whether it be a prison or a mental institution. Bad things happen. I can promise you that. So, now this becomes the death asylum now. The deaths went so frequently unnoticed that the staff discovered bodies of the prisoners only when they started to smell and rot. Can you imagine that? They would start to actually decay, and that's when they would notice their bodies. The Gonjiam is a psychiatric hospital in South Korea. So, patients started disappearing from this psych hospital. While the locals grew suspicious about the incidents, there were rumors that the doctors were going insane, kept patients as patients. is said that the place was shut down because of sewage problems. Yeah. But as per the local lore, the psych hospital no less than a haunted graveyard. Norway, Sikis. Now, one of the most haunted spots in Norway, all of Norway. This haunted place has been abandoned since 1985, but parts of it still house psychiatric patients. So you're telling me that this has been abandoned since 1985, but it's still housing patients who share their space with ghosts, shadows, and odd noises. Can you imagine being insane and having to share a space with these horrible ghosts, demons, and haunted spirits? Can you imagine? I can't. The reason why this became a death trap for a lot of humans was because a lot of illegal drug testings that shouldn't ever have been done on humans took place here, resulting in a ton of deaths. So basically, Norway, which seems like such a kind country, and it is very, I guess, on the left side of life, that I'm surprised that they would allow the testing of just any kind of medications and drugs and pharmaceuticals to be done on their mentally insane. That's sad. So, Austria. Narratorum. So, I don't know what's worse, the morbid history that took place in Vienna's Fool Tower, Europe's first insane asylum built in 1784, or its current use, the Anatomical Pathological Museum, which furthermore than 4,000 graphic, gruesome abnormalities, jars full of deformed fetuses, and sickening wax models of untreated STDs. Jesus Christ. Wow. Either way, there are enough elements in this place that exist altogether to conform and collide, creating a structure that will leave you with the shivers for a long time. I cannot even imagine. Heading back over to the United States. Rolling Hills Asylum in New York. So this former Genesee County poorhouse, established in 1827, counts over 1,700 documented deaths, including the poor, the widowed, the orphan, the handicapped, the criminal, the alcoholic. Paranormal activism. This spook house included slamming of doors, screaming noises, screeching, crying, laying it all out there, slamming doors, throwing dishes, you name it, they had it. There's also something known as the shadow hallway. Shit, I wouldn't want to be there. It's called so because the shadows being spotted peeking out of the doors in the hallway all across the fucking corridor. Holy crap. Alright, I would just be freaked out. I would be completely freaked out. And we have talked about a lot of other these, so I'm not going to bore you with some of these that we've already talked about. How about moving on to my sister's creepy experience in Mendocino County, California. So, sister's recent and creepy experience. Yes, in Mendocino, California. My sister called my family the other day and told my parents about a strange man that she and her friend came across. They had been there for about a week and were out walking in the redwoods when a man appeared out of practically nowhere and scared the shit out of them. So my sister claimed that he looked completely normal and was even kind of good looking in her opinion, but he gave off a creepy vibe really quick. He apparently began asking them weird questions like, who are you and what are you doing in this woods, because it's my woods. After they explained that they were just out exploring, he quickly got annoyed and said they were liars. Liars, they're liars. So my sister quickly figured out that this man had a few screws loose somewhere because he just went into this almost rage effect. So my sister and her friend began to walk away quickly as they assumed he was probably on drugs or out of a mental institution. He walked after them and said really weird, "Stop yelling at them." He even said that he wanted to see them kiss each other because he, quote unquote, knew they were lesbian lovers. They are not lesbian lovers, by the way. So my sister's friend turned around and screamed at him to leave them alone. This is where my sister claims it got fucking scary. She says he gave my sister and her friend the most evil, hateful look she had ever seen in a human's eyes before. And he said this in response: "You two disrespectful bitches. I've killed a few of you over the last few years, and I'll love to add you to both of you to my count." Well, they didn't wait around to find out if they were going to become the count or not. They booked it so fast out of there. The creepy thing was is they heard him chasing after them and screaming at them at the top of his lungs. My sister, she says that she could not make out much of what he said other than that he would chop them up and a few other threats. They both made it safely out of the woods and they did not see him anywhere. They got in their car and sped back to town they were staying in. They called the police to file a report and headed to another area. And we'll be heading home soon. I am scared and pissed off that some creep did this to them. Wow. So there is a whole documentary called Murder Mountain. I'm sure it's referenced in the Sasquatch documentary too, but I have not seen it. On a kind of more positive note, I used to go to a MMA gym with guys that worked up there seasonally. They would just roam around the spots closest to the crows. Usually armed. They're probably just coming up close to someone, marijuana, whatever, growing up there. The guy wanted to scare them off. Maybe that's your best case scenario. Murder Mountain is all true. That is about 2 hours north of Mendocino. As a resident of the PNW in Washington, I unfortunately have to agree. We have the whole Ted Bundy, Green River Killer, vitamin D deficient, sociopath vibe, and a lot of forests and mountain land. It's beautiful, but stories like this make me scared to hike alone. I've done many a backpacking trip and have plenty of experiences in the woods. This is still terrifying to think about. I wonder which direction this killer is headed and if they plan to stay serial killer vibe. I think that's what I was trying to get across my last couple videos ago, that it is not a haunted vibe, it is a truly terrifying vibe. So a couple of women were just found dead about a year ago in Napa and Sonoma County along the 101. That's creepy. They were only found an hour apart, found 4 days apart. The police have said they didn't believe there is any connection between them, but bullshit. I don't think that. I mean, an hour apart, in 4 days. That's crazy. In 4 days, that's. I mean, I know people expound on things and blow stuff up or make something into nothing, but I don't know. It's very plausible that this could be the same person. Totally. Could be the same person. Down. Back. That was a little creepy encounter, just to kind of give you a little bit of a different idea. But how about the Stark County Hospital in Ohio? Is it truly haunted? Well, I don't know. People have investigated this down Ravenna Road on the outskirts of East Canton, Ohio, which I grew up very close to. The landscape resembles many of the small towns which are interspread throughout Ohio. A large percentage of these towns have stories about spirit activity and unexplained phenomena which occur within their rural boundaries. And I am here to tell you this is absolutely true. As everybody knows who's listened to my channel for a while, that I've had my own very strange and odd experiences. So, Limaville is no exception. It is an area filled with small rolling hills and houses built for practicality, many erected around the turn of the 20th century, but through the skeletal trees and down a dusty road lies the questionably haunted grounds of the Molly Stark Sanatorium. So let's take a little walk down memory lane. Elizabeth Molly Page, the wife of a Revolutionary War soldier named John Stark. Stark was one of George Washington's generals, known for his incredible insight and mastery of the battlefield. Molly was born in 1737 in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Married John, 1758. They had 11 children. My God, that would drive anybody crazy. Just kidding. But it would. It would drive me crazy. I wouldn't do well with 11 children. Just saying. In Dunbarton County, during John's war years, Molly opened up her already crowded home to take care of soldiers. They were suffering from make sure that they had lots of sunshine and that the disease wasn't festering in its own shit. But the worst of patients were kept on the second floor, the more mobile ones on the first, allowing them access to the grounds built with the nature and beauty. In 1938, the Works Progress Administration installed nearly 120 linear feet of tunnels at the sanatorium. So why, you're probably asking yourself, in the world are they putting tunnels in a sanatorium that house tuberculosis patients? I mean, wouldn't that just make it worse, you would think? I don't know. Well, what they were meant to house, alright, was basically just a means of travel underground between the buildings. Also in 1956 and until 1995, the Molly Stark became a hospital for other illnesses. Patients who were admitted here were the mentally ill, those with drug and alcohol abuse, and the elderly. And honestly, I think that's a terrible combination. Like, why would you put the elderly in with drug addicts and mentally disabled people? I don't get that. What did the elderly do to fuck you over to do that to them? I'm sorry, that just bothers me. Treat them better because they took care of us when we were young. So the investigation wanted to focus on each of the 3 floors. They wanted to figure out what the hell is going on in this Molly Stark, Ohio asylum. So what they did was they started talking, and they talked about the rumors of incidents which some folks have claimed occurred at the site, and they noted them down. These incidents have not been documented or verified by experts, so the stories range from the physical presence of former patients looking out of the windows, orbs of light appearing mostly on the second floor, and voices, disembodied voices, heard echoing down the hallways and utility sheds. The hospital has never had any formal tours to this day, and never through its entire history. Any investigators were just simply people, nobody professional, just showing up and performing their own public investigations. So guess what? We're gonna turn it loose. Drive down that gravel road leading to the Spanish-style architecture building. Load our digital cameras with the plan to start shooting many photos of the outside perimeter of the house. Hopes of capturing the faces of what we've heard of patients. I don't know. Could they be staring at us? Somebody is watching. Somebody's watching you. Is it Molly Stark or some of the other people? So there's lots of possibilities, opportunities, excursions to capture possible apparitions. After reviewing the many hours of video and photos that we took, we were able to set aside a few questionable ones which appeared to reveal faces and upper bodies. Most of them were able to be debunked, and either objects inside of the room, smears, or physical contamination on the window. The one we earmarked was done so because we were able to rule out these variables with this apparent apparition, and still could not explain the figure to be anything other than someone peering out at the window. It was indeed an exciting moment, so we thought. The photos of the balconies, verandas generally revealed nothing except for one shot at the far left archway on the front hospital closer to the east wing. Now why is that? Was that where they were killed, where they died? I don't know. In our original photo, an orb was revealed in that darker area at the top, just to the left of the keystone. The dark photo shown above is from another photographer that was shooting at the same time with us, and ironically you can see an area of the wall which appears to reveal an orb. I do see it, but I don't know. You never know with somebody else's camera. If it's not your camera, that's the thing. If you're not the one doing the investigation, then you don't know what these people have put into their cameras. So there's no architectural structure in this spot where this orb was found. Draw your own conclusions. Yes, I kind of see an orb, and I don't. It could just be a shadow. As much as I am a believer in the paranormal, I'm also a skeptic, because I believe that every good believer is also 100% a skeptic. It does seem that Molly Stark is very consistent with the lights, abnormalities. I can talk. Light anomalies and abnormalities in its balconies and verandas, just as we had heard rumored. It may be very well that these bursts of energy originate from patients who died at the hospital, as they would have been housed on the second floor. So, did you hear anything? Can you hear that? Do you hear that? Well, during our investigation, then the east wing, we discovered a large hall which looked like a ventilation shaft fitted with a doomed feeling cover. 2 members of our team, 1 female, 1 male, took a turn speaking loudly into the vent. So we did this a few times, and after several attempts, we were able to discern 2 responses coming from within the shaft. One response sounded like a yes when the question was asked, "Is there anybody there?" The other response sounded like an airy grunt when asked, "What is your name?" We did not carry any sound recording devices with us. Well, that's strange. If you're going to do an investigation, the first thing you do want to bring is sound, because there's so many sounds that you as a human being cannot hear on a regular, without a microphone or without a sound specific device. You'd be surprised. So it's a little bit odd to me that they would not take some kind of a sound mechanism to capture something that they could not hear. I guess they trusted their ears the way they are. So, what is your name? What is your name? So all these voices are undocumented personal experiences. So now they are convinced that Molly Stark Sanatorium is quite active, and so now they began a search for an entrance into the complex. Knock, knock, knock. You ever wonder who's behind the door when there's nobody there? Again, down the back side of the east wing, we came to a juncture where the west wing began. Now we're in the west wing. Here there was a window which, appeared to us to have been completely removed and had not been boarded up like all the other which is really odd because that doesn't happen very much. And like I tell you guys all the time, that whenever I really get the chills, that's a sign there's something there, that it's real. Although the lighting was dimmer in the building, I could clearly see the elevator doors off to the left. Now this made the hairs on my whole body stand up as I continued clicking, 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 clicking photos. While walking down the hallway, I began to hear faint footsteps just near the end. And guess what? The closer I fucking got, the louder those damn steps got. Intense alarms going off in my mind and my body that one entity was approaching. I've always been very sensitive to paranormal activity, and I use this as another tool of investigation. But at this point, my instinct screamed at me to get the fuck out, and so I did very quickly. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, we believe that the Molly Stark sanatorium is very active. It proved itself to be, and honestly, it scared me enough that I don't want to go back, and I didn't keep walking down that damn hallway. That to me is a pretty clear, concise determination that there's things in there I don't want to do. Exactly. That's the strange, dark lucidity, you know what I mean. Some of these hospitals are so scary. It's just amazing to me that anybody would have housed anybody there. I mean, some of them look like old homes, but others look horrifically terrifying. And I would in no way want to be inside one. About Gordonsville, Virginia, the real haunted asylums. I am a guest tonight. A kitten who's very interested in being on microphone. Down the haunted asylum, Gordonsville, Virginia. The Civil War Medical Museum in Gordonsville, Virginia has been used for different purposes since the construction was completed in 1860. Now, when this building opened as the Exchange Hotel, the name would imply exactly what it was, a bustling hotel located next to a major railroad junction. 2 years later, its prime location forced it to become part of the Gordonsville Receiving Hospital, caring for wounded soldiers on both sides of the Civil War. More than 70,000 men were treated in the facility during the war, with 700 of them buried in the surrounding grounds, leaving their disembodied, confused, and their souls that have not moved on there to haunt this place. After the war, it became a Freedmen's Bureau hospital for the freed slaves and later returned to its intended purpose as a hotel. Today, the building has been fully restored and now operates as a museum containing many artifacts which could actually be conduits for something more sinister. But as it stands, they are artifacts from the Civil War. Now, it's said to be haunted by some soldiers who were treated within its walls. Among them is a man believed to have been the Union corporal, who was the last patient to leave at the war's end. Cold spots and doors closing on their own have been witnessed, as have inexplicable sounds and the apparitions of a single nurse, child, and a major quartermaster named Richard, or so the story goes. Now, not all the ghosts have been as friendly as these aforementioned ones. As far as speaking to guests, there is a black cook named Anna who tells guests she's frying chicken, if they're lucky. So this is somebody's experience on 12/17/22. While I was upstairs alone in one of the rooms, there was said to be a woman who once that used to live and work there. Now I think her name was Ella. She was in charge of hospitality. She will interact with you and loves asking questions about where you are from and where you are going. To this day, it is like she's still making sure you are feeling welcome there. Welcome there. Welcome there. I have done 3 paranormal investigations here. I have always found activity. If you would like to check it out, it's definitely a place to go to find some paranormal activity. Charlottesville, Virginia. Petersburg, Virginia. Central State Hospital. Originally named the Central Lunatic Hospital, Central State Hospital was founded in 1870. So as to treat, quote-unquote, the black persons of the unsound mind, unquote, making it the first Virginian mental facility to exclusively cater to the black population. Its name was changed in 1895 following the passing of a state law requiring facilities then known as asylums to be called hospitals. That actually became a state law. So it was not the crazy bin, it was a hospital. Now this cat, I've never had a cat want to be near me so much in my entire life or want to even be near the microphone. I was a patient at this hospital when I was 16 years old. I was sent there for treatment of my severe depression. I remember I would wake up in the middle of the night and see people in my room. At that time, I figured it was a side effect of my medications. Today, I'm actually an active paranormal investigator. ghosts don't usually run after you with a chainsaw. It's just not gonna happen. The Jatham Manor in Fredericksburg, Virginia, was founded in 1768 by William Fitzhugh as a plantation overlooking the Rappahannock River. In their time, the grounds have been the site of a slave revolt, a Union headquarters during the Civil War, and a hospital for wounded soldiers. So now today it's not a hospital or an asylum, but at one time it was, and which is why it is the home of many ghosts that haunt it today. It is haunted by many people from the Civil War soldiers that had died there. The manor is also said to be haunted by the ghost of an English girl who fell in love with a man of whom her parents disapproved. They sent her to stay at the Chatham in hopes that she would find a more suitable potential husband in America, but her lover followed her across the ocean with plans to elope. When the pair was discovered sneaking out by a servant girl, the man was arrested. The girl shipped back to England. She eventually did marry after returning home, bearing 10 children, but rumors say she never smiled again. Upon her deathbed in 1790, the woman vowed to return to the only place she was ever happy. That was at Jatham Hospital or Manor. And so, I guess she did. Every 7 years on the anniversary of her death, which was June 21st, a lady in white is seen walking a path leading from the manor to the river, making that path named the Ghost Walk. A comment says that they tried to see this woman on June 21st, and they said they never found her or saw her, and not to waste your time, but, not everybody is going to be able to have the same experiences. You have to remember that. Just going down the list of different things people have said in places in Virginia that might be interesting. As far as haunted asylums go, or even how about a church? Now this aquarium, this Episcopal church in Stanford, was built in 1757. This is in Stanford, Virginia, in the shape of a Greek cross. Locals have long said that the building is haunted by a woman who is said to have been murdered in the building's belfry. Every so often, her ghost can be seen peeking out of the window. Out of the window. There are no shared experiences on this. I just don't want to miss any. I hope her founded in 1825 as the second mental health facility in Virginia. Though the first building was not finished until 1828, it was originally named the Western Lunatic Asylum, and it did not change to its current name until 1894. So the hospital came under control of this Dr. Joseph Desjardins, a noted eugenicist. A new building was erected bearing his name under his direction. Many patients were tortured within its walls. The building is later used as a correctional center before being abandoned in the 21st century. Visitors claim that the restless spirits of Desjardins' victims still haunt the building. To this day, their disembodied screams can be heard echoing through the halls. Moans and whispers. Phantom footsteps. Phantom footsteps. And doors opening and closing on their own have all been reported. I know for a fact this place is haunted. I was there June 2008, October 2008. I am a paranormal investigator, and for a fact that place is freaking haunted. Dark figures in the hallway. Going into the doctor's office, something pushed my back when I was sleeping one night, woke me up. Gave me the creeps. That was posted on 11/16/16. Just want to make sure that I get them all in. I just found this great little site that has all these in Hopewell, Virginia. It was a manor. It was home of the Eaps family. 1751, this Plantation House was most famous for having been the Union headquarters during the siege of Petersburg. It is now administered as a historic museum house, but it is said to be haunted by the ghosts of a Union soldier. The wounded soldier is said to have been hiding in the basement while by a nurse at some point when the Confederates controlled the building. Unfortunately, he had left his gear in the storage room, prompting the Confederates to arrest the nurse. Unable to get out the wall on his own, the soldier died there and his body remained stuck until construction workers discovered it in 1953. His ghost has been heard frantically scratching at the walls, trying to escape in vain. That's terrifying. I literally live in the city. I have lived here for more than 12 years. The approximate manor is haunted and pretty old. I live in a house that's over 100 years old. I would go to bed with no clothes on, but then I'd wake up and I mysteriously was fully clothed. I do not know how she does it while I'm sleeping. One day, out of my peripheral vision, I saw a shadow figure of a woman's female nurse. has seen her in the dining room as well as I have. So everybody does things they are not supposed to when they're young, right? On October night around 9:30 on Halloween, I guess. My brother, myself, and two friends are walking down the trails of City Point, Hopewell, Virginia. Just got done doing some fishing and saw a flight of stairs to the left. We wanted to see where they went, and we all of a sudden ended up at the manor. We did not want to shine any light or our cell phones, scared to be seen because we thought it was somebody, a person, somebody alive. We stopped for a second and looked around. Our other friends were fooling around behind us, and my brother pointed to the corner of the manor and said, what's that? At first, I didn't see anything but a little reflection of maybe some foil or trash or something left in the grass. Then he said, no, not that, that. I looked up about 20 feet from where I was originally looking, and there stood at the corner of the manor a huge-looking man, large, broad shoulders and arms. He stood at least 7 feet tall. He was only 20 feet from where I was standing. 7 to 8 feet tall. This man did not move. He stood completely still. No noise, no words, no light coming from him. He was like a vacuum of light. You would think 4 kids at 9:30 at night fooling around would have provoked him to say, hey, what are you doing? Or shouldn't you not be here? It's trespassing. We didn't even speak to each other. My brother and I turned and ran as fast as we could. Other friends did not ask questions because they were spooked out of their minds. Luckily, they cut the picture quickly. I will forever remember that night and what we saw. Till this day, when I'm telling someone this story, I get chills. Oh, that is truly terrifying. Truly terrifying. So, tragedy struck on December 1st, 1974. Now, this is not an asylum, this is a TWA flight 514 from Indianapolis to Columbus. It crashed in the west slope of Mount Weather, killing all 85 passengers and 7 crew members. Since that fatal day, there have been reports of strange phenomena in the area of the crash. Visitors have reported feeling as though they were being pushed by invisible forces, hearing phantoms screaming and seeing glowing apparitions moving about the forest. Oh my god, that would freak me out. I just had to share that with you. The Gavel House in Portsmouth, Virginia. So during the mid-19th century, it was an historic home used as a makeshift hospital by a doctor who was combating an outbreak of yellow fever in the region. One of his patients, the young daughter of a widower sea captain, stayed in the house's attic until she eventually succumbed to her disease and died there. Having not lost his wife and his daughter, the captain was devastated, as you can imagine. Faithfully came to visit his sick child every day while she clung to life. He began spending as much time as possible out at sea after passing. Every time he returned to port, the captain would go to the home and stare longingly at the attic. forced to encounter the man, the ghost, hearing him open the front door and slowly coming up the staircase to the attic where the door would open and slam shut. After several times of this happening in a row, it started to occur on a much more infrequent basis, as though the old captain is still on the schedule of this sea vessel. That's kinda sad. He probably is on the schedule with the sea vessel. Schedule. That was Virginia. So haunted houses. Now we don't talk a lot about the West Coast haunted houses, but one that's not open to the public in Downey, California. This mental hospital was originally a facility for tuberculosis and polio patients. Many stories surrounding this place, including it's haunted. One story states there was a mental patient who slashed a priest's throat in the building. Many witnesses have claimed there are unhappy spirits that linger at this place. Lights have been known to turn on and off by themselves. Sometimes the building is used for police training and trespassing is absolutely prohibited. I was there and there's lots of activity. I remember we got onto the courtyard grounds. This was 2016. We passed a computer chair that was facing the opposite direction and kept going. My girlfriend and I at the time were looking for a way in. We were on each side of the building near the main courtyard. I remember seeing a giant light going back and forth, flickering sometimes. I was told it was the only building the guards did patrol. It was the only one with the light. So we were trying to get in this building with a long hallway when all of a sudden we hear something slam against the wall. Heavy boots running right next to us. Well, my girlfriend and I get the hell out of there. We busted out of the exit. We passed the computer chair, but this time it was facing directly at us, like someone spun it around and sat on it. Now keep in mind, we were just there for maybe 30 minutes. I hope they don't take it down. There is a lot of history in that building, and there is evil there. A year before the coronavirus, I went alone to go Pokemon hunting. But I ended up there. I saw some dead animals around the property and was really creeped out by this. Let me just tell you, this is more than just a ghost. My friends and I went there for just being kids, just to see if we could get anything out of it as far as the paranormal experience. Let me tell you that this isn't just full of ghosts lurking the halls and security guards on the outside of the fence. No, I'm pretty sure there is a psychopath that goes there to kill cats. We found 9 cats and they all look like they had been mutilated. Most of the cats' heads being chopped up separate from the bodies. There was one room locked. We could smell rotting flesh from the outside. We decided to break through the door and saw a slashed up cat. And cat's blood everywhere on a curling iron. Oh my god. We were pretty sure someone goes there to specifically kill cats. As you walk in this building, there is blood, feces, black mold, and drugs. I went with my friends at 2 a.m. It was the scariest shit I ever seen. Man running down the hallway while I heard him screaming. Out of nowhere, he just disappeared. I had the screaming on video, but when I left it was no longer on my phone, completely gone. Yeah, I plan on going again, but I'm going to bring 2 voice recorders. Yo, I had the same experience my first 2 times. It was cool to explore, but then I went through another way and see a person walking, but he disappeared behind a pole in plain sight. Yeah, but today I got chased by a real cop on foot and cars while inside the asylum and had to run and hop over a fence. Dip through the railroad tracks. I'm probably not gonna go back. But obviously they want to keep people out of there for sure. This is really scary. Look, man, this place is huge. I just want to let everybody know. My friend and I went back in 2019. Wow, there are several buildings you can explore. I mean, a lot. The bad thing exploring here is that I had to park at Domino's, which was the closest plaza. You cannot park at any other building near this asylum. Don't even bother looking for the parking lot because the guards, they patrol there at night. So I kept driving, looking for a parking spot until I found a guard watching me the whole time. Better to go here at night so the guards and security cameras don't get you that easily. But on the good side, there are openings in the gates you can crawl through. It's kind of weird though, that the vents, the guards, asylum building was wide open like it was a trap or someone was letting us in easily. It was almost too easily. There are a lot of open doors into these buildings, so that's a good thing, I guess. My friend and I, it was our first time ever exploring through an abandoned building, so this haunted asylum definitely spooked us out the second we walked in. Remember the word of advice: go at night, wear dark clothing, bring flashlights, be careful of guards, cars, security cameras, and also bring at least 3 to be safe. Now heading from California to North Carolina. This is a school for troubled children, troubled youth that opened in 1909 called Stonewall Jackson Manual Training and Industrial School, but it was more of an asylum or place to keep troubled kids. But it was cruel and horrific. The boys were sent to Stonewall Jackson School for crimes and injustices that would today result in a suspension or even a slap on the wrist or possibly nothing. So at its start, the place was considered a progressive institution for housing just troubled youth separate from prisoners. But, quote, at the school, the young men lived in a series of dormitory-style buildings, received an academic education as well as learning a trade. Students worked in industries including shoemaking, printing, barbering, a textile, and machine shop. Many of the young men worked on the school's farm, learning modern architectural, agricultural, and other techniques that would help them in either construction or farming, like maintaining the fields, cattle, herds, supporting the school, of course. So anything that would help the school, like if something broke down, the boys would know how to fix it. If something needed to be done on the farm, the boys would know how to do it, that kind of thing. The print shop produced a small newspaper called The Uplift, but many disturbing suffered vasectomies and sterilization during this time. North Carolina was one of the last states to still perform sterilization on people under state care. That's insane. I mean, were the boys there because for sexual assault or something? It does not say. But throughout its time, Stonewall Jackson was repeatedly criticized for its mistreatment of boys, most commonly the severe abuse, overcrowding, and prisoner violence. At its peak, the facilities held 500 youths. It became a place where horrific incidents were the norm, including violence, rape, beatings, and inhumane conditions. A former boy who attended the school was so traumatized by events he witnessed and experienced, he became a prison activist. A young man, Russell Smith, attended the school in the 60s, 13 to 15. He founded two coalitions supporting equal rights for all prisoners. He also brought to light the horrible treatment and practices that occurred behind closed doors. Soon the whole state and nation began to think differently about this quote-unquote boys' school. By the 70s, the whole nation shifted to reform its treatment and views on troubled youth and detention centers. Many believe the old treatments for minor offenses are too harsh. And thus, as the country changed, Stonewall Jackson dramatically decreased in size. They changed the name to Stonewall Jackson Youth Development Center. But the site of the real horrors is now decayed, abandoned, and full of terrible, sad, and heartbreaking energy. I can't even imagine, so disturbing. And how many lives did it consume and ruin because of its horrific treatment? Today you can find what's left in Concord, North Carolina. Maybe you should visit. Better yet, do you have a personal story? I'm curious, because it was not that long ago. My great aunt Ona and Uncle G were house parents at Jackson Training School for 20 years. I used to visit them a time or two with my grandparents. My aunt and uncle seemed to be popular with the boys and respected. I never heard or saw any of abuse for myself, but I did notice that the boys had to work in the fields really hard from sunup to sundown, growing their own produce. My dad went there, but he does not speak of his experiences, and you can't blame him. Some people maybe are saying this is the best thing that ever happened to them. Maybe there was just a select few. Maybe it got better over the years as the laws changed. But the older people, they say that their husbands or dads will not speak about what went on behind closed doors. When that is said, I would have to say that it might be pretty bad. I mean, I can't imagine going through a vasectomy, being raped, beaten, abused for doing a crime that probably a lot of them didn't commit. They were just hyperactive, or I don't know. You know, it's like today we understand mental illness a lot better and look at it much differently than we did back then. Asylums, hospitals are still around today to house and reform the mentally ill, and the ones that keep the criminally asylums that I speak of, well, I believe that many of those people that were housed here or in their walls did not belong there. That's my personal thought. I think it's like the Kennedys' sister that was lobotomized. What the hell? Just because she was different. Oh, is she really different, or is she just have autism or ADHD or maybe some kind of other slight mental disorder? But everything I've seen or read about her, it seems she was not horrible. Just, I guess, as a Kennedy, you had to be either perfect or not. But honestly, I don't think any of the Kennedys turned out all that great in many ways. Just saying, none of them have a great reputation. No, Kennedy Jr. I think he was probably one of the better of them, and yet he died in a plane crash. So that was almost like, in the Kennedy situation, the sins of the father really rang true. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I don't. So how about Connecticut? You would think there would be lots of places in Connecticut and Massachusetts, but I don't read a lot about them for some reason. I don't know why either. I mean, seeing as Salem witch trials were in Massachusetts, and I don't know, I just always thought maybe it's just because I'm more focused on Ohio. So I guess if you're a fan of the paranormal, then Nutmeg State is the place to be. We got all kinds of ghosts and goblins allegedly lurking around. Now, do we have asylums? Heck yeah, we've got hotels, asylums, old hospitals that are now hotels. One asylum was supposed to be renovated December 2015 for what was supposed to be a 7 to 9 month period. The work that was needed was much more extensive than originally thought, but it is not yet to be reopened. Rumor says that it is because the workers do not stay there long because they are run out of the building by disembodied voices being pushed, forced into dangerous situations while working on the property. Oh my gosh, yeah, that would definitely freak me out. Can you imagine you're there to do renovations and you've got a saw in your hand and all of a sudden you can